Commander William Carter stood at the large window of the Earth Embassy on Nexus Station. The artificial rings of the massive space station turned slowly against the backdrop of stars. He took a deep breath as he straightened his blue uniform. Today was important. Today humanity would finally know its fate. "They're ready for us," said Dr. Olivia Mitchell as she entered the room. Her eyes showed she hadn't slept. She had spent all night analyzing data, trying to prove humans were innocent. "Do you think they'll listen to reason?" William asked. Olivia shook her head. "The evidence they claim to have doesn't make sense. Something is wrong here, William." They walked together through the wide hallways of Nexus Station. Aliens of all shapes and sizes moved around them. Some had blue skin, others had 4 arms or eyes on stalks. Just 5 years ago, humans had thought they were alone in the universe. Now they were part of something bigger, the Galactic Council, a group of 23 alien species who worked together. At least that was how it was supposed to be. The doors to the council chamber slid open. Inside, a half-circle of raised platforms held representatives from each council species. In the center stood Admiral Frank Nelson, his face red with anger, as he argued with Ambassador Krell, a tall, thin alien with gray skin and large black eyes. "This is an outrage," Frank shouted. "Humans had nothing to do with the attack on Outpost 7. Ambassador Krell's voice was cold. "We have evidence that human weapons were used. 217 lives were lost." William stepped forward. "Admiral Nelson, please." He turned to the council. "Esteemed representatives, whatever evidence you have must be wrong. Earth ships weren't anywhere near Outpost 7 when the attack happened." A council member with blue scales and a long neck spoke up. "The weapon's signature matches your plasma cannons exactly." "Which means nothing," Olivia said, stepping forward with her datapad. "Our technology isn't secret. Anyone could copy it or make it look like we were responsible." Ambassador Krell made a sound like a laugh, but without joy. "Always excuses with humans. Your kind spread so quickly to the stars. You push and take and never slow down. Some of us have watched with concern." William felt cold inside. This wasn't about the attack at all. This was about fear. "Let Dr. Mitchell present her findings," William said. "We deserve a fair hearing." The head of the council, a being made of what looked like orange crystal, raised a hand. "We have already voted." William's heart sank. "Voted? When? This session was supposed to be our chance to defend ourselves." "The emergency vote happened during the night cycle," Krell said with a small smile. "For security reasons." Frank stepped closer to William and whispered, "They planned this? We need to warn Earth." The crystal being's voice echoed in the chamber. "By vote of 15 to 8, the Council has decided that humanity poses a security risk to galactic peace. Until further investigation is complete, all humans are to return to their home system." "You're exiling us?" William couldn't believe what he was hearing. "Based on false evidence and a secret vote?" "It is a safety measure," Krell said. "You should be grateful. Some council members wanted much harsher punishment." Olivia stepped forward. "How long will this safety measure last?" "Until we determine humans are not a threat," Krell answered. "It could be years, it could be centuries." Frank's hand moved to his weapon. William quickly put a hand on his arm. "Don't," he whispered. "They're looking for any excuse." The crystal being spoke again. "You have 48 hours to notify all human ships and colonies. After that time, the barrier will be activated." "Barrier?" William asked. A hologram appeared in the center of the room, showing Earth's solar system. A shimmering bubble formed around it, extending just beyond the orbit of Pluto. "New technology," Krell said proudly. "It will prevent any faster-than-light travel in or out of your system. Standard space travel will still work inside the bubble, but you will be contained." Frank's voice was low and dangerous. "This is an act of war." William's mind raced. Earth had only 7 warships. The Council had thousands. Fighting would mean the end of humanity. "We will comply," William said, ignoring Frank's shocked look. "Under protest. We request time to bring our colonists home from other systems." 48 hours, the crystal being repeated. As they left the chamber, Frank exploded. We can't just accept this. We should fight. And lose everything? William asked. We need time. We play by their rules for now. Olivia looked at her data pad. Something isn't right. The attack data is too perfect, too clean. It's like someone wanted to frame us specifically. Keep digging, William said. I need to contact Earth. We have thousands of people on colonies and ships who need to get
home now.
The next 2 days were chaos. Ships from all over Council space rushed toward Earth. Some wouldn't make it in time. William worked without sleep, coordinating the massive movement of people. On the final day, he stood again at the window in the embassy, watching as the last human diplomatic staff boarded shuttles. Nexus Station was emptying of humans. Olivia rushed in, her face pale. William, I found something. The data about the attack. There's hidden code. Someone altered the evidence. And there's more. Reports about something called Void Harbingers that the Council is hiding from everyone. Get this to Earth, William said, handing her a secure data chip. I'll be on the last shuttle. As Olivia left, Ambassador Krell entered the room. Come to gloat? William asked. To give friendly advice, Krell said. Accept your place. Humans push too hard, want too much. The galaxy is old, humans are new. Some species have been on the Council for 10,000 years. They know what is best. William stood tall. We'll be back. This isn't the end. Krell's black eyes showed no emotion. The barrier is permanent. No species has ever returned from exile. 6 hours later, William's shuttle approached Earth. Behind them, sensors detected a massive energy wave as the barrier activated, surrounding the entire solar system. Admiral Nelson met William at the space dock orbiting Earth. Earth was beautiful. Below them, blue and green and perfect. Now it was also a prison. What's the plan, Commander? Frank asked. William looked out at the stars beyond Earth. Somewhere out there, the truth waited. And so did humanity's future. We adapt, William said. We get stronger, and one day we return. 5 years passed since the barrier went up around Earth's solar system. Dr. Olivia Mitchell stood in her underground lab on Mars, looking at the strange device on her table. It was alien technology, smuggled back to Earth before the exile. For 5 years, she had worked to understand it. Any progress today? Director Peter Simmons asked as he entered the lab. He was in charge of Earth's unified space agency now. Under his watch, all nations had joined together to solve the exile problem. I think I finally understand how it reads the barrier, Olivia said, not looking up. The Council uses a specific energy pattern to create the wall around our system. If we can copy that pattern, we might find a way through. Peter finished her sentence. His tired eyes showed a hint of hope. We need good news, Olivia. People are getting restless. Earth had changed since the exile. With all human colonists forced to return home, the planet was more crowded than ever. Resources were tight. Old conflicts had mostly ended as humanity united against a common problem. But new tensions grew every day. In another part of the Mars base, Chief Engineer Samantha Wright was testing a new engine design. The room hummed with power as machines pushed the small prototype to its limits. More power, she shouted to her team. The engine glowed bright blue, then white. Then, with a loud bang, it broke apart. Samantha slammed her hand on the control panel. That's the third failure this month. A young assistant looked nervous. Maybe it's impossible to break the light speed limit without the alien tech we lost access to. Samantha glared at him. Nothing is impossible. We just haven't found the right way yet. On Earth, Marcus Hayes walked through his small apartment in the Denver megacity. Before the exile, he had been a farmer on humanity's first colony around Proxima Centauri. Now he lived in a tiny box, working in the city's vertical farms. He looked at the picture of his old farm on the wall. It showed rolling fields under an alien sky with a red sun. He missed the open spaces. A knock at his door pulled him from his thoughts. A government official stood there. Marcus Hayes, Director Simmons wants to speak with you. 2 days later, Marcus stood in a meeting room on the Mars base, confused about why he was there. When Director Simmons and Dr. Mitchell entered, he stood up straight. Mr. Hayes, Simmons said, we've been looking at your colony's records. Your farm produced 40% more food than any Earth farm using the same space. How? Marcus was surprised by the question. I just used what was available. The soil on Proxima b has different minerals. I found that mixing them with Earth plants created better results. Nothing special. Dr. Mitchell smiled. But it was special, Marcus. You created a hybrid growing system no one had thought of before. That's why we need you for Project Phoenix. What's Project Phoenix? Marcus asked. Our plan to break the exile, Simmons answered. Humanity needs problem solvers who think differently, people who don't accept limits. Meanwhile, Samantha was about to test her newest engine design when her lab computer beeped. A message appeared. Try adding element 115 to the containment field. She frowned. No one should be able to send messages to her secure system. She checked the source. It came from outside the solar system. When she told Simmons and Mitchell about the message, security went on high alert. No communication had broken through the barrier in 5 years. Should we try it? Samantha asked. Element 115 is extremely rare. We only have a small amount. Mitchell studied the message code. This came through on the exact frequency I've been studying. Someone out there knows a lot about the barrier. It could be a trap, Simmons warned. Or it could be help. Mitchell countered. Maybe from aliens who don't agree with the Council. They decided to take the risk. 3 days later, with the rare element added to her design, Samantha's engine ran for 15 minutes at speeds that should have been impossible inside the barrier. Word spread quickly through the human leadership. Hope began to grow again. On a secure base on Jupiter's moon Europa, Admiral Frank Nelson reviewed the latest fleet reports. In secret, Earth had been building ships, smaller and less advanced than before the exile, but many more of them. Instead of 7 large warships, they now had over 100 smaller, faster vessels. How long until the new drive systems can be installed? He asked his officers. Chief Wright says at least 6 months for testing, an officer replied. But Dr. Mitchell thinks she's close to understanding how the barrier works. She believes it pulses, gets weaker at regular intervals. Frank nodded. So there might be a window when we could break through. The officer handed him another report. There's something else. Our deep space telescopes have detected unusual activity at the edge of our system. Objects moving in formation just beyond the barrier. The Council watching us? Frank asked. No, sir, different energy signatures, and they're not approaching the barrier. They're studying it from the outside. Almost like they can't get in either, Frank finished, thoughtful. That night, a group gathered in Mitchell's lab. Simmons, Frank, Samantha, Marcus, and several other project leaders. Mitchell had called them together with urgent news. I've decoded more of the alien data, she told them. The attack that got us exiled, it wasn't random. The Council's been doing this for thousands of years. They find young spacefaring species with potential, frame them for crimes, then exile them to their home systems. But why? Marcus asked. Mitchell displayed a star chart. Because of these, the Void Harbingers, they're an ancient species that returns to the galaxy every few centuries. The Council doesn't fight them. They sacrifice the exiled worlds to them instead. Everyone was silent as they processed this information. So the barrier isn't just keeping us in, Samantha said slowly. It's marking us as a target. Frank's face hardened. How long do we have? Mitchell looked grim. Based on the cycle data, I found they're already on their way. 10 years, maybe less. Then we have work to do, Simmons said firmly. Project Phoenix needs to move faster. As they left the meeting, a new determination filled them. Humanity wasn't just fighting for freedom anymore. They were fighting for survival. Marcus looked through a viewport at the distant blue dot of Earth. His home was in danger, but for the first time in years, he felt a sense of purpose. Humanity would adapt. They would find a way through the barrier, and when they did, they would come back stronger than ever. 10 years had passed since the barrier went up around Earth's solar system. On the edge of Neptune's orbit, a small ship floated in the darkness. It was unlike any ship humans had built before the Exile. It was sleek and black, designed to be hard to see. Its name was painted in small white letters, Defiance. Inside the ship, Captain Maria Rodriguez checked the final systems. She had trained for this mission for 3 years. Now it was time. "All systems ready, Captain," said Lieutenant Ryan Collins, from his station. Before the Exile, Ryan had worked in Council security. Now he used that knowledge to help Earth. "Dr. Freeman, how's our special package?" Maria asked. Dr. Alex Freeman stood by a device that pulsed with blue light. "The barrier disruptor is stable. Battery charge at 98%. But remember, it will only work for 60 seconds at most." Maria nodded. 60 seconds to get through and turn it off. Then we're on our own on the other side. The plan was dangerous. They would use the disruptor to open a small hole in the barrier. Once through, they would search for allies among the stars. They would find evidence to clear humanity's name. And they would learn more about the Void Harbingers. "Message from command," Ryan said. "We are cleared to proceed." Maria took a deep breath. "Start the countdown." The ship moved slowly toward the invisible barrier. They couldn't see it, but their instruments showed where it was. A wall of energy surrounding the entire solar system. Disruptor active in 3, 2, 1. Dr. Freeman pressed a button. The blue device glowed brighter. In space ahead of them, a small section of the barrier became visible as a shimmering wall. Then a hole appeared in it, just large enough for their ship. "Go," Maria ordered. The engines pushed the ship forward, through the hole. Warning alarms sounded as the ship shook violently. 20 seconds, Alex shouted over the noise. The ship pushed through the barrier like it was moving through thick jelly. Metal creaked. A panel in the back of the ship burst into flames. Ryan jumped up to put it out. 45 seconds. They were halfway through. Maria gripped her chair tightly. 58. 59. With a final shudder, the ship broke free on the other side. The disruptor died with a pop and a shower of sparks. "We made it," Maria said quietly. Then louder, "We made it." The crew cheered. They were the first humans to leave the solar system in 10 years. "No signs of council ships," Ryan reported. "I think we got through undetected." But their celebration didn't last long. The damage reports came in. The ship's main communication system was fried. They could receive signals but not send them. They were on their own, unable to contact Earth. "Set course for the Taurus system," Maria ordered. "Our intel suggests there's an independent trading post there. We need to repair the ship and gather information." 3 days later, the Defiance approached a small space station orbiting a red giant star. It didn't look like Council technology. It was patched together from different parts, like it had been built by many different species. "No weapons targeting us," Ryan said, "but they've definitely seen us." A voice came through their speakers, speaking in different languages. Finally, it tried English. "Unknown vessel, identify yourself." Maria hesitated. Telling the truth could be dangerous, but they needed help. "This is Captain Maria Rodriguez of the Earthship Defiance. We seek safe harbor and trade." There was a long silence, then, "Earth, humans are under barrier exile. How did you get here?" "We have our methods," Maria replied. "We come in peace and will pay well for repairs." Another pause. "Approach docking bay 3, slowly. Any aggressive move will be met with force." The station was busy with aliens of many types. Some Maria recognized from old records. Others were completely new to her. Most looked at the humans with surprise or fear. A few showed interest. While Alex arranged for repairs, Ryan explored the station, listening for useful information. Maria met with the station manager, a 4-armed alien with purple skin. "Humans," the manager said. "Haven't seen your kind in a decade. Thought you were done for." "We're hard to keep down," Maria said. "What can you tell me about the current situation in Council space?" The manager named a high price for information. Maria paid it with rare minerals they had brought. "Council's not what it used to be," the manager said. "There are tensions. Some species question the old ways, especially the exile system. What about the Void Harbingers? Maria asked. The manager's forearms stiffened. Where did you hear that name? We have our sources. The manager leaned closer. There are rumors, sightings at the edge of charted space. The council denies everything, but they've increased patrols. Something has them scared. Later, Ryan found Maria and Alex in a quiet corner of the station. I made contact with someone interesting, he said. An alien trader named Zara. She says she knows about Earth's exile and wants to help us. Could be a trap, Alex warned. Could be our first ally, Maria countered. Arrange a meeting. Zara turned out to be a small, bird-like alien with shimmering feathers. I am Raxian, she introduced herself. My people were exiled 3 centuries ago. We broke free. How? Alex asked eagerly. Our system had natural wormholes, different from your situation. Zara looked around nervously. But that's not important. I have information for you about why your people were exiled. She showed them a data device. This contains council security records. Your people were framed because you developed too quickly. The council feared you would discover the truth about the Harbingers before they could prepare you. Prepare us for what? Maria asked. To be sacrificed, Zara said simply. The council has an agreement with the Harbingers. Every cycle they offer the exiled worlds in exchange for being left alone. The humans were silent as they processed this. There's more, Zara continued. Not all council members agree with this policy. There's a resistance forming, and... She hesitated. Your ship isn't the first to break through a barrier. Others have done it before. Other humans? Alex asked, surprised. No. Other exiled species. We have formed a network. We call ourselves the Broken Chains, and we could use Earth's help. Before they could learn more, alarms sounded throughout the station. Ryan's communicator beeped. Captain, Council patrol ships just entered the system. They rushed back to the Defiance. The repairs weren't complete, but they had no choice. They had to leave. Come with us, Maria told Zara. The Raxian hesitated, then nodded. My ship has information you need, I'll follow you. As they prepared to launch, Dr. Freeman made a discovery. Captain, look at this. He showed her readings from the station's outer sensors. That's not a normal council patrol. Those energy signatures, they match what our deep space telescopes detected near the barrier. Maria looked at the readings, then at Zara. Are those... Zara's feathers flattened against her body in fear. Yes, those are Harbinger scout ships. They're here early. The cycle is beginning sooner than expected. The Defiance and Zara's small ship slipped away from the station just as the strange dark ships entered the area. They didn't look like council vessels. They were shaped like massive black stars with pulsing red lights at each point. They haven't detected us yet, Ryan reported. Where to, Captain? Maria looked at Zara. Take us to the Broken Chains. It's time humanity joined the fight. As the ships accelerated away, Maria looked back at the station through the view screen. The Harbinger ships surrounded it, pulsing with energy. Then, without warning, the entire station went dark. They just absorbed all its power, Alex whispered. Maria's hands tightened on her chair. Get us back to Earth as soon as possible. We need to warn them, and we need to prepare. The two ships vanished into the darkness of space, carrying with them humanity's first allies, and news of a war that was coming sooner than anyone had expected. 15 years had passed since humanity's exile began. Admiral William Carter, once just a commander, now stood in Earth's largest shipyard hidden inside the dwarf planet Ceres. Around him, hundreds of ships were being built. Some were small and fast. Others were large with powerful weapons. All of them were preparing for the day humanity would break free. Impressive, isn't it? General Lisa Bennett asked as she joined him. She had started as a colonel when the exile began. Now she led Earth's unified military forces. 500 ships, William said. Before the exile, we thought 7 was a lot. And these are better than anything we had then, Lisa said with pride. But will it be enough? William didn't answer. He was thinking about the message they had received 3 months ago. Captain Rodriguez and the Defiance had found a way to send signals through the barrier at specific points. The news they sent was both hopeful and frightening. They had found allies, other exiled species who had broken free. But they had also confirmed the threat of the Void Harbingers. On the other side of the solar system, Dr. Olivia Mitchell worked with a team of scientists on Jupiter's moon Europa. With her was Jack Howard, a civilian engineer who had been brought into the program after showing remarkable skill with alien technology. "Try it now," Jack said, adjusting something in the large machine they had built. Olivia pressed a button. The machine hummed and projected a hologram of the solar system with the barrier shown as a red bubble around it. Small blue dots appeared at various points on the barrier. "It works," Olivia said excitedly. "We can see all the weak points now." The barrier wasn't perfect. It had spots where the energy field was thinner. For years they had only known about a few of these spots. Now they could see all of them. "And look at this," Jack said, pressing another button. The hologram showed energy waves moving through the barrier. It pulses every 43 hours. During those pulses, the weak spots are even weaker. This was the breakthrough they had been waiting for. Now they could get ships through the barrier more easily. Far from Earth, the Defiance and 5 other human ships that had escaped through the barrier over the years had joined with the Broken Chains, the alliance of formerly exiled species. They had set up a base on an abandoned moon in a system the Council had forgotten long ago. Captain Maria Rodriguez now wore the uniform of an alliance commander. She stood in a meeting room with representatives from 12 different species. "The Harbinger ships have been spotted in 4 more systems," she reported. "They're moving faster than we expected." Council member Shala, a defector from the Galactic Council, spoke next. She was tall with silvery skin that reflected light like metal. "The Council is in denial. They keep saying the Harbingers won't arrive for another decade. They refuse to prepare. Their agreement won't save them this time," said Krell, a young alien who looked much like the Ambassador Krell who had helped exile humanity. But this Krell was different. He was the son of the Ambassador, but he had learned the truth and joined the Resistance. "My father believes the old ways will work again," young Krell said. "He thinks offering the exiled worlds will be enough. But the Harbingers are hungry for more this cycle." "We need to warn Earth," Maria said. "The Harbingers will target them first because they're already marked by the barrier. Our latest intelligence suggests we have perhaps 6 months before the Harbingers launch their main attack," Shala added. "We need to be ready." Back on Earth, preparations moved at full speed after they received the warning from Maria. Admiral Carter met with Earth's leaders in an underground base beneath the old United Nations building in New York. "We can get through the barrier," he told them. "Dr. Mitchell has mapped all the weak points, and Engineer Howard has developed a system that can temporarily expand those weak points." President Diane Foster looked at the reports. "How many ships can get through?" "All of them if we time it right," William said confidently. "But we need to coordinate with the Broken Chains Alliance. Captain Rodriguez says they can help from the outside while we push from the inside." "What about the Council?" asked one of the leaders. "Are they still a threat to us?" "According to our intelligence, the Council is divided," William explained. "Some species want to maintain the exile system. Others, having learned about the Harbingers, are questioning everything. There's a real chance some Council members will become our allies. So we could be fighting a 2-front war," President Foster said, "against both the Council loyalists and these Harbinger creatures." "Yes," William agreed, "but we won't be fighting alone." On Europa, Jack Howard worked with Captain Rodriguez's crew through secret communications to develop a new weapon system. The Harbingers absorbed energy, that was how they attacked. But Jack had an idea. "If they feed on energy," he explained to Dr. Mitchell, "maybe we can give them too much, like overfeeding until they burst." Olivia looked at his designs. "This could work, but we'll need to test it." Jack smiled. "I already have. On a small scale." He showed her a recording of his experiment. A tiny piece of what looked like black metal, a sample recovered from a Harbinger scout ship, was placed in a container. When exposed to a specific energy frequency, it absorbed the energy, grew larger, then suddenly broke apart. Their own hunger can be used against them, Jack said. Across the solar system, General Bennett trained a multi-species fighting force. Earth had taken in refugees from other exiled worlds, beings who had managed to escape their own barriers and find their way to Earth. Now they taught humans about the Harbinger's weaknesses. They don't see well in certain light frequencies, a six-eyed alien named Morrow explained as they tested special lights on their ships. We can use that to hide our smaller vessels. Another alien with skin like tree bark added, they communicate with each other through energy pulses. If we can disrupt those pulses, they get confused. Lisa watched as human and alien soldiers trained together. We've learned more in the past 6 months than in the 15 years before, she told Admiral Carter when he visited the training base on Mars. Isolation was what the Council wanted, William said. They kept species apart to keep us weak. Together, we're finding new solutions none of us would have found alone. As the day of the breakout approached, William met with Olivia, Jack, and General Bennett one last time on the command ship Freedom. Earth has changed, Olivia said, looking at images of their home planet. We're not the same species that was exiled 15 years ago. We're stronger, Lisa agreed, more unified. And we have something to fight for beyond just ourselves, William added. If the Harbingers aren't stopped, they'll eventually consume every world in the galaxy. Jack looked at the fleet gathered around them. Hundreds of ships of all sizes crewed by humans and alien refugees, all preparing to break through the barrier together. It's almost time, he said quietly. William nodded. Send the signal to the broken chains. Operation Homecoming begins tomorrow. 20 years after humanity's exile began, the day of return finally arrived. Fleet Admiral William Carter stood on the bridge of the Freedom, Earth's largest warship. Around him, officers prepared for the most important battle in human history. All ships report ready, Admiral, said his second-in-command. William nodded. Send the signal. Operation Homecoming has begun. Throughout the solar system, 500 ships moved toward their positions. They gathered near the weak points in the barrier that Dr. Olivia Mitchell had mapped. On each ship, Jack Howard's barrier disruptors were ready. Timing is critical, William reminded the fleet commanders. We must all break through at exactly the same moment. The broken chains will be waiting on the other side to help us. On the Freedom, Dr. Mitchell watched her monitors. The barrier is beginning its pulse cycle. Weak points will be at minimum strength in 3 minutes. William took a deep breath. This was the moment they had prepared for during 20 years of exile. All ships, activate disruptors on my mark. The countdown began. When it reached 0, William gave the order. Mark. Across the solar system, hundreds of barrier disruptors activated at once. The invisible wall that had contained humanity for 2 decades suddenly became visible as a shimmering red barrier in space. At 12 different points, the barrier rippled and tore open. Go now, William ordered. The fleet surged forward through the openings. Unlike the violent passage of the Defiance years earlier, these ships moved smoothly through. Jack's improved technology made the transition easier. Still, it was a race against time. The openings would close in just 2 minutes. As the Freedom passed through the barrier, William saw ships waiting on the other side, the Broken Chains fleet. He recognized the Defiance among them. Captain Maria Rodriguez had kept her promise. The Allies were here. Admiral, we're receiving a transmission from the Broken Chains flagship, an officer reported. Maria's face appeared on the main screen. She smiled when she saw William. Welcome back to the galaxy, Admiral. Good to be back, William replied. Status report? Maria's expression turned serious. The Harbingers have launched their first major attack. They've hit 3 Council worlds already. The Council is in chaos. Some members want to negotiate with the Harbingers. Others are finally ready to fight. And our plan? Still on track. Alliance Commander Krell is meeting with the Council now, trying to convince them to join us. Before they could say more, alarms sounded on both ships. "Harbinger vessels detected," an officer shouted. "A lot of them. They're heading straight for us." The Harbinger ships looked like massive black stars with glowing red points. They moved in perfect formation, closing in from all sides. They knew. "We were coming," Maria said grimly. "Someone betrayed us." William turned to his crew. "Battle stations, deploy the energy traps." The human fleet quickly formed a defensive position alongside their allies. Jack Howard's new weapons were there. Best hope. These energy traps were designed to feed the Harbingers more power than they could handle. The first wave of Harbinger ships attacked. They fired beams of dark energy that drained power from several Alliance ships. But the Freedom and other human vessels launched small drones that pulsed with bright blue light. The Harbingers couldn't resist the energy. They absorbed the drones, their black hulls expanding as they consumed the power. For a moment, nothing happened. Then, just as Jack had predicted, 3 Harbinger ships burst apart, unable to contain the energy. "It's working," Olivia shouted. But there were too many Harbinger ships. For every one they destroyed, 3 more took its place. The battle turned against them. In the command center, William received an urgent message. "Admiral, we're being hailed by a council ship." To everyone's surprise, Ambassador Krell's face appeared on the screen. The alien who had exiled humanity 20 years ago looked older, but his black eyes were still cold. "Admiral Carter," he said stiffly. "It seems we face a common enemy." William controlled his anger. "The enemy you tried to feed us to." "The past is irrelevant now," Krell said. "The Harbingers have broken our agreement. They attack Council worlds as well as exiled ones. The Council has voted. We will join your alliance." William glanced at Maria, whose image still showed on another screen. She nodded slightly. "Very well," William said. "Send us your fleet positions. We'll coordinate the attack." With the Council ships joining the battle, the tide began to turn. The combined fleets surrounded the Harbinger forces, deploying energy, traps and new weapons developed by the Broken Chains Alliance. On a smaller ship near the back of the fleet, General Lisa Bennett commanded a Special Forces team. "We've located the Harbinger command ship," she told William. "Permission to proceed with Phase 2? "Granted," William replied. "Be careful, General." Lisa's ship moved quietly toward the largest Harbinger vessel. With her was Dr. Olivia Mitchell carrying a device Jack Howard had built, a supercharged energy trap that could take down the entire Harbinger command structure. Their ship docked with the Harbinger vessel without being detected. Lisa's team moved through dark corridors that pulsed with red light. The inside of the Harbinger ship was like nothing they had seen before. Half machine, half organic material. "According to the Broken Chains intel, the control center should be ahead," Lisa whispered. They rounded a corner and found themselves in a large chamber. In the center floated a mass of dark energy shaped vaguely like a giant brain. "That's their hive mind," Olivia said. "The source of their coordination." Lisa nodded to her team. They set up defensive positions while Olivia prepared Jack's device. It looked simple, a small metal box with a glowing blue core, but it contained enough concentrated energy to overload the entire Harbinger network. "Ready?" Olivia said, activating the device. It began to pulse, sending out waves of energy that the hive mind immediately started to absorb. "Fall back," Lisa ordered. They retreated to their ship as the Harbinger vessel began to shudder around them. As they pulled away, the command ship's red lights flared blindingly bright. Then, in a massive wave, it exploded, sending pulses of energy to all connected Harbinger vessels. One by one, they began to break apart. "It worked," Olivia said, watching the chain reaction. Back on the Freedom, William saw the Harbinger fleet falling into chaos. Without their command structure, the ships lost formation and began to drift. "All ships, press the advantage," he ordered. "Don't let any escape." Hours later, the battle was over. The combined forces of humanity, the Broken Chains and the Council, had won. The Harbinger threat was eliminated, at least for now. In the Council chamber on Nexus Station, the same room where humanity had been exiled 20 years before, President Diane Foster addressed the assembled representatives of all species. 20 years ago, humanity was sent away based on lies and fear, she said. Today, we return not seeking revenge, but offering a new beginning. Ambassador Krell stepped forward. The Council acknowledges its error. The exile policy is hereby ended for all species. Young Krell, standing with the Broken Chains delegation, smiled slightly. His father had finally admitted the truth. William, Olivia, Maria, Lisa, and Jack stood together, watching as a new galactic charter was signed, one that promised cooperation and equality for all species. We did it, Jack said quietly. We not only came back, we changed everything. William looked out at the stars visible through the chamber's large windows. The same stars he had looked at 20 years ago when humanity was cast out. We came back, stronger, he said. Not just with better ships and weapons, but stronger in spirit. We learned to work together, with each other and with other species. That's the real victory. As the ceremony ended, ships from Earth and the former exile worlds prepared to head home. But now they wouldn't be going home to isolation. They would be going as members of a new, united galaxy. Humanity's exile was over. Their future had just begun.